Welcome back. So this second sandwich is a Reuben sandwich. Actually one of my favourite sandwiches. It's a recipe that I've had for quite some time, and I've never actually had a cooked Reuben sandwich, but I know that the raw version is definitely one of my favourites. And just to remind you, we're giving you a little bit of context here on how you can use some of these breads and wraps and crackers and the pizza base and to hopefully give you some ideas on bringing them into your everyday lives and doing something maybe a little bit special with them, which is exactly what this is. So first of all, we're going to prepare our mushroom because that just needs to marinate for a couple of hours. All right, a fairly nice chunky slice on a portobello mushroom here. We'll pop that to one side. We've got our marinade. We've got tamari, we've got apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. We've got olive oil and also a little bit of salt in there as well. So I'll pop those into the bowl. Give them a quick whisk. And then the mushroom slices in, give them a little swirl round. Make sure we get all that, or most of that marinade soaked up by these mushrooms. You'll find after a couple of hours that actually the mushrooms give off a little bit of liquid, so you might find more liquid in the bottom there. It doesn't mean that the marinade hasn't gone in, it's just that the water's coming out of the mushrooms, which is all good. Okay, perfect. So we'll let those marinate for a couple of hours. If you want to dehydrate them for an hour or so, then you certainly can do. I'll just pop those to one side and we'll move on to our Thousand Island dressing. Our Thousand Island dressing then is going to be done in the Vitamix. So let's start off with tomatoes and a red or orange bell pepper. Red pepper would be great here actually, but I've used up all my red peppers. So I'm just using orange. And then some soaked cashews. So then we've got our remaining ingredients here. I'm just going to refer to my recipe so I can give you the full rundown. We've got olive oil, we've got miso, we've got lemon juice, we've got apple cider vinegar, we've got a date in there as you can probably see. We've got salt and pepper to taste as well. So those are all going to go in. And then I'm going to add a little bit of water to get this to blend. So that's our Thousand Island dressing done. I'm just going to put that in the fridge, let the mushrooms marinate, and then we'll move on to the Swiss cheese. Now the Swiss cheese, I don't know if you've ever made any of my other tree nut cheeses. This is done a little bit differently. We're going to blend coconut meat and we're going to blend cashews, soaked cashews. We're going to add the probiotics to culture it. We're going to add the nutritional yeast and the salt and the lemon juice all in one. And because we want nice thin slices of Swiss cheese, we're just going to spread that out on a dehydrated tray and then get it to a point where we can cut it into nice square slices ready for that sandwich. Nice and simple then, this first stage. In the Vitamix, we've got our young Thai coconut meat. Then we've got the same amount of soaked cashews. Bit of salt in there. Then we've got just any good variety of probiotics. Here in the UK, my favourite one at the moment is called Wild Nutrition. Anything with acidophilus in basically is going to work for you. And ideally you get it in powder form like this, but if you can't get it in powder form, if you can only get it in capsules, then you can just pull the capsules apart to the tune of a teaspoon. It's just the same, it's perfect. Okay, that's great. Then we've got our nutritional yeast. And now that should blend as it is. You might need a little bit of water depending on how much water your cashews took on when they were soaking. Okay, good stuff. So it's always worth spending just a few extra seconds if needed to make sure that you get this completely smooth so that we end up with a really nice smooth cheese. Okay, now you may need to spread this mixture over 2 non-stick sheets. Let's have a look. I think we'll be good actually. Okay, again, I'm just going to switch to my palette knife. So using the palette knife here just gets you a much smoother end result. That's ready now to go into the dehydrator, and you really don't need to worry about these ridges too much. As it dehydrates, they're just going to even out a little bit. So don't spend hours trying to get this perfect. This is great as it is. So yeah, into the dehydrated, 12 hours. I'm going to take that out and it's going to be ready for our Reuben sandwich. We're ready to jump into building our Reuben here now. We've got all of the elements we need. Love this sandwich. It's got some really cool elements to it. So let's run through them quickly. We've got our bread, preferably a rye bread, but if you've got another loaf of bread that you've made, you can just as easily use that. We've got our Thousand Island dressing. We've got our marinated mushrooms over here. We've also got our Swiss cheese and we've got some sauerkraut here as well. And I'll link to a really good sauerkraut recipe in the description below. So we're going to cut our bread, and I'm going to cut it this way so that we get a nice slice. And then if you've got time, you can just dehydrate that maybe for 10 minutes, make that a bit drier to the touch. But we're all good. Okay, so let's build this up, get some mushrooms on there. I actually kind of think it's cool if they overhang the bread a little bit as well. Then maybe some cheese. Maybe we'll build this up. Let's make this a Scooby snack. Let's build this right up. Let's get some sauerkraut in there. Then we're going to top the whole thing with a bit of Thousand Island. Another bit of cheese. And then we'll put the top on. So you could pop a cocktail stick through the middle there, keep it together whilst you're eating it, and then serve it with maybe some kale chips, maybe some pickles. Be absolutely fantastic. So give it a go, let me know how you get on.